Hi all, this is Pixelcave, and today we're taking a look at medieval city builder Noble Legacy. It's a strategic settlement sim where you can design every building from scratch, save it as a prefab and share it on the Steam Workshop, and co-op mode is coming. But is it worth your time right now? Well, we'll tell you what the game is about, what you can expect, and hopefully give you a better idea of whether the game is for you. Now let's get started. In Noble Legacy, your goal is to establish a humble settlement within your kingdom and grow it to a thriving city. Played in third person, it's immersive. You can harvest resources, talk to villagers face to face, and even fish or fight off bandits. While we enjoy being right in the middle of things, the game is first and foremost a city builder, with no character stats to maintain. So keep that in mind if you're after a similar game with more survival elements, like for example Aska. On that topic, many games in this genre can feel overwhelming at first, but Noble Legacy was refreshingly chill. We could ease into it at a casual, laid-back pace, taking our time without running into any major negative consequences. That said, the two core pillars here are the building itself and the management of your villagers, and we'll get to both in just a moment. Now, if you know our channel, then you know we mostly cover co-op or multiplayer games, and Noble Legacy is currently single player only. However, as you can imagine, there's a huge demand to play with others, and the devs have confirmed that a co-op mode is in the works, so that's promising. The developers behind Noble Legacy are Studio 369, and the game was released in early access for PC on Steam in August. It's often likened to games like Medieval Dynasty, but if we can believe what players say that have experienced both, there are differences in terms of features and in the way both games are played. Since early access isn't necessarily comparable from game to game, and some games launch more feature-complete and polished than others, it needs to be said that Noble Legacy is still very much in development, with numerous mechanics being work in progress, and features pending implementation. Currently, you have the choice to play as a lord or lady of your kingdom. And to be honest, for a game that mostly focuses on managing your city, the character customization features more sliders than we expected, and we can easily see this being expanded with even more options. Once you have created your preferred character, you can either start a tutorial or play in the game's kingdom mode, which is essentially a sandbox mode. Even if you have played similar city builders before, we would recommend playing the tutorial, as it helps you to familiarize yourself with the UI, basic mechanics and essential buildings that are required to get your settlement started. Once completed, you should be equipped with the knowledge of how to start your settlement on your own and can start a new game in kingdom mode, where you'll be able to advance your village a lot further and experience all the game has to offer. Let's talk about building. At the start, you'll gather basic resources yourself, chopping wood, mining stone or gathering berries. But once you have built your first homes and production buildings, you can recruit villagers to take over. They'll handle everything from foraging and refining to more specialized roles like merchants, priests or guards, freeing you up to focus on the bigger picture. If you enjoy building, you'll probably spend most of your time doing exactly that, as you have quite a bit of creative freedom to build your dream settlement. For some buildings, the game lets you select prefabricated structures, so you can get started quickly without worrying too much about the design. Prefabs are optional. You can build every structure yourself, and by placing certain items, turn them into fully functional buildings. You can even customize the interior with various decoration items. Once done, you can save the buildings as a prefab, which can then be used throughout all of your playthroughs or shared via the Steam Workshop. It's one of those features that really expands on what's available in-game and keeps things interesting.
Thank you, my lord.
Especially since you can also download other players' designs, and there are quite a few cool creations out there already. When placing a prefab, you can choose to just place the building or include all of its decorations, which we think is really neat when you want to drop in a fully furnished home in seconds. The game also has building tiers which can be easily upgraded, so no need to demolish and rebuild. Additionally, you also have the option to fully demolish a building or just parts of it, with all resources refunded, so experimenting with layouts never feels punishing. There's also a handy top-down view that makes it easier to locate good building spots and resources, helps plan and build from a strategic bird's-eye view, and also lets you oversee your village. It's one of those features that you'll see yourself using all the time once you start expanding. The second most important element of the game are villagers. The game offers you a fresh selection of possible recruitable villagers on a regular basis. There are 4 tiers: peasants, tradesmen, artisans and nobles, and depending on their tier, each can fulfill specific jobs. Some come with requirements, like needing a larger home or an available tavern, and they also have traits that can boost or hinder productivity or how well they work with others. Overall, villager management has depth while staying accessible, and in our time with the game, it never felt too overwhelming. To hire someone, you'll need to offer them gold, and they can decline. So if you urgently need to fill a role, make sure you bid wisely. Once assigned, villagers carry out their jobs autonomously, but keeping them happy and productive means giving them a home and meeting their needs. Now, while the devs describe Noble Legacy as a deep strategy game with villager management, strategic building placement and more, we didn't feel this had a huge impact yet in our first 10+ hours. We suspect it will become more important as your settlement grows and the number of villagers you manage increases. Productivity and morale can already be influenced by decorations, building upgrades, work environment, and distance to facilities. The goods your villagers gather or produce can be sold at market stalls, and depending on how well your realm is doing, you'll also attract visitors who buy products or spend time in your tavern or church. Occasionally, villagers will have small event quests that require you to make decisions, with outcomes that can help or hurt morale and resources. By the way, since there's a lot of discussion around AI in game development, you should know that villager voiceovers are AI generated in early access, but the devs plan to replace them with full voice acting at release. And if you enjoy role-playing, there's an optional experimental feature that lets you connect OpenAI for deeper conversations with villagers. But to be honest, this might be one example where AI could actually add something positive. There are 5 tiers you can upgrade your settlement to, and in the current live build we played, you can reach the first 3: Homestead, Hamlet and Village. As we explored, we also noticed quite a few interesting features in the research menu marked as coming soon, which given its early access will take some time to arrive. Still, it's encouraging to see what's planned. Mounts, romance, illness and a revamped combat system are all on the roadmap, but more on that shortly. Now, considering that Noble Legacy is still being actively developed and expanded, our first impressions reflect exactly that. While we didn't encounter too many bugs and only 2 crashes, the game itself does feel rough around the edges, which is to be expected at this stage. The controls are a bit clunky, with what we'd say not the most intuitive shortcuts, especially for building. The UI could need more in-depth detail to make managing villagers clearer. The graphics could need some love, and the animations felt overall basic. That said, the core loop already works well. Villagers go about their jobs reliably, buildings are easily upgraded, and requirements to progress are clear. Once our settlement had all the basics in place, we found ourselves getting hooked. Whether it was spending time creating or improving our buildings, or chasing the next upgrade tier, we can easily see ourselves sinking more hours into the game as it gets fleshed out and more polished. The option to create and save prefabs, and the ability to truly customize your kingdom that way is fantastic. To be honest, it's one of those features that makes you feel invested in your settlement. If they add more building types and decorations over time, this could become one of the strongest pillars of the game. And in case you were wondering, there's basic controller support, but it's still being worked on. And the same goes for Steam Deck support. It works, but it isn't 100% there yet. Regarding the roadmap, it leads into spring next year and outlines the various updates and features that are planned for the game. The autumn update focuses on wildlife, fishing, hunting and related buildings. The update planned for winter seeks to introduce new mechanics, like illness and disease, an apothecary and bathhouse, combat overhaul, co-op mode and mounts. And next spring, there are plans for more relationship-related mechanics, like gifting, marriage, children and the likes. From what we could see, the devs are also active on their official Discord, from regular updates to openly chatting with their community, which is always a positive sign. Now, to wrap up, Noble Legacy has shown us that it's a city builder with a lot of potential and room to grow. From designing and sharing your own buildings to watching villages bring your settlement to life, there is already a satisfying core here. With co-op mode, more features and expanded systems on the horizon, it's a game worth keeping an eye on. If you enjoy city builders but rather want to wait for more features to land, then we'd say wait, wishlist and follow the game on Discord. For our part, we are keen to see how those upcoming additions will change the feel of the game. We'd love to hear what you think about Noble Legacy, and as always, please consider giving us a thumbs up, subscribe or become a member of our channel.